Yeah, welcome back, everybody. Danny Vega here, also known as Danny V, and welcome back to the Danny Vega Show. And today is our brand new episode of TDV Live. TDV Live is my podcast on personal development with ordinary people like you and me, sharing their mindset and their wisdom and their success. I mean, sometimes I feel like when you have individuals that are high up there in success, like your Tony Robbins and Les Browns, etc., and even Lewis Howes, and so on and so forth. Sometimes it's hard to relate because it's just like, well, you're a big shot now, and you don't know how it feels, even though a lot of them have went through quite an amazing journey if you actually sit down and read their books. However, on this podcast, I get normal people that I know who share their wisdom, and it's absolutely fantastic. If you haven't heard of any of the episodes, please go to my podcast on here on YouTube or even on Spotify and also on Apple Podcasts. So, today I want to talk about a little bit of mindset. So, a lot of people sometimes we feel like we're losing, and sometimes it can get even to the worst possible scenario, excuse me, worst possible scenario that, oh my gosh, I never win, or oh, I constantly lose over and over again, and not understanding why we do it. And what's funny is that I was pondering on this question. I was pondering on it of like, how can you shift your mindset from that? Because you hear all the greats, all you have to do is say affirmations and do all these things. And I found some techniques that actually have helped, still does help. And then a technique that I'm going back to every day. So lately, I've been reading James Clear's Atomic Habits. So this book right here, I am telling you, if you haven't read it, it's one of the best books I've read in a long time. And I'm a big book reader. I love reading books on personal development and whatnot and mindset. So in Atomic Habits, he said one thing that I thought was very unique. And before we get there, I'm gonna say a couple of things that are in the book, however, and also a couple of other techniques that other people have said before. So, positive affirmations fall short only because of action. So, you always hear the person that always speaks and doesn't do, right? And in the book, what's incredible is that they say that winners and losers have the same goals. So, if they both have the same goals, then it's not the goal setting that's the problem, it's the execution of said plan per se to the goal. Some people don't even have a plan. Some people just have the goal, don't have the plan, and then just poorly execute. So basically, in a nutshell, Atomic Habits in here, James Clear is saying, hey, this is just on your systems. It's not you, it's your systems. And basically, the awareness of yourself to the point that you see your systems in play. So, one thing that I really got out of it is that if you're not keeping track, and I said this in bodybuilding, I said it in my fitness video, if you're not keeping track, it's very easy to lose your way. And it's very easy to be like, well, I don't know what's working. The number one thing I even tell some of my fitness clients is like, hey, if you're not keeping track, then you have no idea what is working and what doesn't, because you have to make sure obviously in a healthy individual, not just if someone has any like thyroid issues or hormonal issues or anything else like that. But if they're pretty much healthy, hormone wise, organ wise, etc., then there's something you're doing that's not working. And we have to figure that out. And it's so much harder to figure out when you're not tracking. So when you're tracking your habits, your systems, it's easier to shift to the mindset. So uh, I always mention meditation. I always mention, um, you know, affirmations and executions. However, the one simple technique that's overlooked over and over, and it's the secret technique that I posted in the thumbnail, is this: keeping track of your wins. And that one was huge for me. So my buddy Paul 50 of I Am 50 Million, he's one of my best friends of all time, and he's my spiritual guru. And there was something that he said, and it finally clicked while I was reading the book. And so Paul 50 was like, hey, listen, you got to track your wins no matter how small. And it's so simple, and people are like, "Ah, whatever." No, it's really powerful, and the reason why it's really powerful is this, is that when you're losing constantly, kinda like how James Clear says, is that the reason why you have this belief is because you have evidence to support the belief. That's why affirmations fall short. You don't have the evidence of saying, "I'm a winner, I'm 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 a winner." It's like, yeah, you can say that all you want, but if you lose, 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 last place, fifth place, sixth place, whatever, then yeah, then all of a sudden you're gonna be like, wait a minute, I'm I'm really a loser. So, how do we get the evidence base is honestly small wins and tracking the small wins. Because now, like James Clear is saying, is that now you have evidence of why you're actually a winner. And also, we've all heard the saying says that energy flows where attention goes. So, and Tony Robbins said it in a book, in which I think is so hilarious, is that I had read his book and I had a similar experience myself on a track in a car with the instructor telling me that no matter where I go, my eyes, that's where my hands are going to go. And I thought it was phenomenal that it came full circle, with that. But yeah, it's so true. And it's something that used to help me a lot. And when I stopped doing it, I noticed a shift in mindset. Then you go back into the belief of like, oh, this is not working out or whatever, whatever. It's not about the grandiose win. It's not about, "Hey, let's go ahead and celebrate the big victory." It He says it in his book, and this is why I highly recommend you guys, James Clear, I'm telling you, Atomic Habits. He breaks it down so simply and beautifully. It makes so much sense. And he's like, everyone wants to celebrate the big win, but the big win is just the accumulation, is the compound interest of your habits and systems and your small wins. So your systems are comprised of your habits, and then your small wins are because of your habits and your systems. And then the compound interest of all of that gradually gets to the big win. And it's not instant. And he has this chart. It's like I forgot what it's called. I think it's like the Valley of Despair. And there's like, you've been working so hard and you don't even see anything. You're not even breaking through the surface. And then finally it does. It's almost like what Les Brown said in his videos about the bamboo tree. Planted in bamboo tree and you're watering it and it doesn't grow for 5 years. It doesn't break out of the dirt. But then once it breaks out of the dirt, it shoots up. And so it's just like, well, did it shoot up in a couple of days? Or did it take 5 years, right? I think it's 5 years, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, the point is that even if you don't see this grandiose win, we have to see something. As human beings, we have to strive towards something. And so when we're not seeing the result of it, it throws us into that losing mindset. We get into despair. We're like, well, maybe I'm not doing something right. Maybe I'm stupid. Maybe I'm not pretty enough. Maybe I'm not this. Maybe I'm not that. However, if we track the small wins like macro and micronutrients in bodybuilding, like what I did, that's going to accumulate in the long run. A lot of people don't know my story with bodybuilding. Is what's funny is I lost my first bodybuilding competition. Came in last place. It was 3 out of 3. My ego was so bruised. And I remember I went up to Jack Parentini, who is my coach in superior metabolic performance, and I said, I really want to do this. How can I win? And the first thing he told me was forget about competing. He was like, I'll let you know when you're ready. And so for years, and I think for me it was 5 years. I was 23 when I entered my first competition, and I was 28 in my second competition. And so for 5 years I worked hard in the gym, just grinding and grinding and keeping track of my macros, my micros, and also keeping track of my workouts and always checking in with Jack and keeping track. And all right, my weight spilled, my calorie spilled. How do we adjust it and stay on track? And by doing that, all of a sudden one day he comes up to me and goes, "Hey, get ready in a couple of weeks. We're going to a show." And I was like, "Whoa!" Came out of the blue. And if you saw any of my pictures and whatnot, um, I qualified. I qualified for going pro on that one. And which was the greatest thing is I got to share the stage with Jack, and it was an incredible experience, absolutely incredible experience. And it just goes to show you guys the small wins. That's the secret right there is keeping track of the small wins. So how I did it, how I personally did it was at the end of the day, you don't have to have this grandiose list. You can do just five. My buddy Paul used to say, strive for five. That's what we're doing. Strive for 5. So I'm like, all right, what are 5 wins? What are my wins of the day? I would write it on a piece of paper. I would say wins of the day. And I would say completed majority of my task of the day. A win of the day is, a good deed. Just anything that you find as a win so that in the future we can go ahead and look back on it and it will shift your mindset. It will. So, and also everything that you put in your head. So, reading books, listening to audiobooks, watching YouTube videos. So, it's proven that majority of our sensory in our body that we receive information through our eyes. So, reading, watching the videos, and then next is hearing. So, it's the more you put that in your head, the more that you surround yourself with that, the better you're going to get at it. And then you have to try to practice and implement those things that you've read and you heard. And also, again, they've said it a million times. My instructor, Ryan Robertson, that you saw on this podcast, and also his brother, Master Rodney Robertson, they used to tell me this all the time. Is like birds of a feather flock together, and it's so true. Instructor Robertson used to say all the time. He used to say, "A baseball player does not hang out with football players." It's like a basketball player. If they want to learn how to dribble and shoot, they don't go to a soccer player to learn how to dribble and shoot. You have to hang around the people that influence you to be that. And so that's another thing, environment. And James Clear says it in the book, change your environment. That a lot of the cues, just like the power of habit, you have the stimulus, the cue, the response, etc. And so your environment plays a big part. So if you're so used to having a certain environment of around you, you got to change it. You got to change it for more positive things. And also that we shouldn't be goal driven, that we should be system driven. And because if you work backwards of what type of person that you actually want to be, right? Let's say, for instance, you want to be a bodybuilder. It's like, well, what would a bodybuilder eat? How would a bodybuilder sleep? How would a bodybuilder train? And you write it down and all that jazz. And when you see the system of becoming, I am a bodybuilder, right? Instead of I just want to bodybuild, when you work backwards like that, it's much simpler and you break it down into steps. So each step is a building block to go forward. So you can do that in anything in life. I just use bodybuilding because I used to bodybuild. So yeah, I mean, I think those are absolutely, the book is fantastic. That's the little secret. And also gratitude. So another one of my spiritual teachers, Grace Hausler, she used to tell me all the time. She would say, focus on gratitude, focus on gratitude, focus on gratitude. And my ego couldn't handle it. So all of a sudden, when I'm upset and try to focus on gratitude, I'm like, So meditation calms me down, but gratitude. So this technique used to help me too. What I used to do was if I was upset, I'd be like, okay, what am I grateful for? And then I would just try to list, as mad as I was, or upset as I was, or sad or anything, what am I grateful for? And honestly, it works. So when you keep like, what am I grateful for? I'm grateful for food. I'm grateful, and it could be silly. You'd be like, I'm grateful for food. It doesn't have to be that deep. I'm grateful for food. I'm grateful for video games. I'm grateful for my mom. I'm grateful for my family. And then stuff that you're actually grateful for. You don't have to be super spiritual or whatnot, but things you're actually grateful for. And then once you start listing them down, then all of a sudden, strive for five, then it's going to be a snowball effect and you can just go. And yeah, I think those are the things that will help you definitely to switch from a negative mindset to a positive mindset, from a losing mindset to a winning mindset. It just takes a shift in perspective. And how you do it is by doing that, just trying to focus every single day on those things. So instead of being like, oh, I had a crappy day, oh, today was the worst, yada, yada, at the end of the day, is what are the wins? Even if it's one thing, my biggest win today, boom. And then you focus on that. And like I said, if it try five things and then you'll see the snowball effect. After five, you're going to be wanting to write so many things down. And with the combination of your sensories, of your eyes and your touch and everything else, it's going to definitely shift. And like I said, it's compound interest. So it's not going to happen off the bat. It's not going to happen overnight. However, that those are the building blocks to proceed forward and shift your mindset. So yeah, thank you for joining me on this talk. And don't forget to like and subscribe if this brought you any type of value. And then also don't forget about my 1K giveaway. If as soon as I hit 1K subscribers, I'm picking one lucky winner to win a prize of $100 and possibly a package too to go with that. Is my gratitude and saying thank you to you guys. And also, you get a better chance if you leave comments on the video. So make sure you leave comments on the video because then you have even more of a chance for me to pick you to be the lucky winner. So that wraps up today's Motivational Monday slash TDV Live podcast episode, mini episode. And yep, don't forget to like and subscribe and also share if this would help anyone that you think needs some techniques, especially these simple techniques. And also remember this book, I'm not sponsored by them, by him or anything. I just see the value in it. And I think he is definitely onto something way more than certain individuals out there, especially on YouTube. So I hope you have a fantastic night. I love you. Be safe. And I will talk to you next time. Peace.